What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again with the second Operation Trebuchet news video this weekend. There has been so much stuff, guys, and part of that's just because I unfortunately recorded the last video pretty early. As you guys saw, it was a longer video than normal, but there is already so much stuff that was shown off. Once again, I decided, what the heck, let's do a second video this week. Partially because some of the stuff in the last video is already out of date. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So starting us off, we have some images of the VK78 getting its textures. Of course, we talked about the VK78 Commando in the last video. So Freeman is doing some textures for it. In this case, we have one based off the current standing textures based off the last Halo Infinite gameplay shown. So Freeman's working on that. It's pretty cool. Again, you know, I said the textures help make it feel Halo. That's definitely showing to be the case here. You know, with the UNSC logo and stuff stamped down there, it definitely makes it feel a little bit more completed at the very least. Now, in addition to the standard texture, Freeman is also working on a police variant. Now, the police variant's pretty cool. Of course, we had a police faction in-game previously, and that was removed, and I really want it back. And we are actually getting a police faction back, but I'll get more into that probably in a minute here, as we talk about some of this other stuff coming up. So then we have the Gadoosh, which we've talked about before. This has actually been worked on 2 or 3 times by different people. It's been a little bit since we talked about it previously, so I can't remember who all has actually worked on it previously. But in this case, we have High working on this model, and it's pretty cool stuff. Of course, you know, it's a big missile launching system. I don't think anybody actually really knows how the Gadoosh works. This was a concept thing that never actually saw gameplay, so I think it's supposed to be like a disposable system despite the complexity of it. So like a single shot system that was designed to replace the Spanker that just never ended up happening, which is good because the Spanker is a precious baby that needs to be protected. Anyways, so then High's already got this in kind of in-game. It's very basic working. Obviously, you guys can see the muzzle flash and everything from it is permanent. It's not textured. It's probably not really working properly at all, but he does have it in-game, very basically speaking, which is pretty cool. And I'm excited. I really want to see this again because, of course, right now, officially from Operation Trebuchet, we only have the Spanker. There's actually 3 rocket systems. Well, I guess the fuel rod, too, if you count First Contact. But there's like 3 actual human rocket systems that we see, or missile systems that we see, from a infantry firing standpoint. And that is, of course, the Cricket, the Gadoosh in this case, and the Spanker. We only have one of those 3. And of course, the Cricket, you know, is 343 design. I'm not like a huge fan of it, but it would be nice to see more of that stuff, especially because that's going to actually fit the role of Arma a little bit better for a system like that that's a lot lighter and a lot more easily transported than the Spanker. Then we have the BR-37, which is actually in-game, but this one's dubbed the half BR because this is literally the BR-37 with the front BR portion cut in half, and it's now the half BR. So it's got the back end of an MA-37 and the front end of a BR-85 with the front cut in half. Of course, I showed off the BR-85 in the previous video, so if you guys already watched today's other video, you will have already seen this. And then we have the SOCOM battle rifle. So this one is a concept designed by Desert Fox. And this gun is, it's kind of neat. It's interesting. It's got aspects of several UNSC weapons. It's got the ammo counter based off of the VK78 Commando, so it's got that side-mounted ammo counter, which is kind of neat. Its stock looks kind of like a battle rifle or the DMR. I know a lot of people said it looks more like the DMR. I can personally see the battle rifle design in the stock, but the stock is also extended out a lot more than the BR, it seems like. So I could see some aspects of the DMR in that too. Part of what makes it feel like I think the DMR too is the fact that it's got the iron sights and stuff sticking up at the front, which also almost feels like the shotgun from Halo instead, just a little bit. Now, you know, it's not exact, but I think part of that's the rounded foregrip on the gun too that gives it the shotgun vibes. Now, it's got a number of different things, and bear in mind, guys, this is just a concept for the SOCOM BR. It's got, you know, the integral silencer, side-mounted screen, the extended mag, And then it's got the rail up on the top as well as a rare iron sight. Now, it's kind of a cool gun concept, and to be honest, like, yeah, I would rather see other content rather than another battle rifle. I already kind of question the addition of the BR-37 and stuff too, personally. But with that being said, like the BR-37, you know, while it might not be what I would like to personally see worked on as far as priority, it is a good-looking gun. I'm sure it will be a plenty of fun, and a lot of people are going to really enjoy it. You know, it's like the same thing. The BR-45 wouldn't have been my first choice to put in game, but I like the BR-45, so, you know, I'll give it a chance. We'll see. Of course, this thing is a lot further off from development because it is, as I said, just a concept. With that being said, it did get some revisions. It actually saw a lot of negative feedback in both the Optrade Discord and, you know, at least one other Discord, probably a few other places. So some of that feedback's already been taken into account, and there was some adjustments made to the gun. Now, I've said in the past, I'm really bad with, like, the fine details of these guns and stuff. And to be honest, I'm struggling to see the differences. Obviously, the big glaring one is the barrel was shortened very significantly. It looks like there might have been some other tweaks around that area too, near the front of the gun. But speaking of the rear of the gun, you know, the stock, the grip and all that, there doesn't seem to be much in the way of changes as far as I can tell. You know, of course, the magazine is in the magwell, but that's that doesn't really mean much of anything, I guess. That's not really a change to the weapon itself. It's just giving it some ammunition to actually fire with. Okay, so then we're going to keep going on. We're going to move over to equipment side of things, so clothing, uniforms, things of that nature. And we have a new field cap being developed, as well as some goggles and stuff that go with it. This is pretty cool design. This one's also being made by High. This is actually listed, as you guys can see, as a police cap, but it's actually got the insurrectionist logo. So High is basically developing, and I started to talk about this, a police faction. So he's making a whole new faction, independent faction. And all of this stuff is also basically not only going to be getting designed for like a police faction, but also for rebels as well. So basically, a lot of this stuff will have like alternative rebel textures and stuff, or in this case, a rebel model logo like right on there. So that's really cool. I actually really dig the hat. I love field caps, so very excited for this, and can't wait to see it. So as far as the actual faction goes, he's talked about some of the weapons. The plan is for the SAW to be the heavy machine gun for this faction. They're going to use the VK-78 Commando as their rifle. The MA-37K will be their CQC weapon. The recently added SRM-77 S1 will be for the sniper. Their DMR will use the half BR we just talked about a little bit ago. And the anti-tank is going to use the Gadouche. And then their light helmet will be the cap that you guys see here. And the other stuff's still work in progress. So there's listed as a heavy helmet. Now, it says it's done, ready to go. It doesn't say what the heavy helmet is versus a light helmet. It might be the Halo 3 helmet, because I think that's the plan for at least part of it. But let's go ahead and talk about that. So the Halo 3 armor set is getting redone. And so this is something that some of you guys are probably going to go like, why are we redoing the Halo 3 armor set when we already have it in game? Part of that is because there is a number of flaws which some of you may recognize and a lot of you may not have noticed with the Halo 3 armors. To be honest, it's one of those things I personally didn't notice, but from speaking with Morthon, who had originally designed the Halo 3 armor some time ago, that was actually something he expressed wanting to redo because of the flaws that I just mentioned. As such, High has taken up the project and has decided to go ahead and redo them for his police faction. So as well as getting standard textures for it, so, you know, UNSC green and stuff like that. We're also going to be getting Rebel textures, which are a much darker forest green with a like a hand emblem and some red highlights on there, which is pretty neat looking. And presumably, because of the police faction, we'll also be getting a police variant of this with the black and probably some white highlights or something integrated into it. So that is pretty awesome stuff. I'm pretty excited for it. I like the Halo 3 armor. Now, personally, I would have rather seen priority taken with the Halo 2 anniversary armor. But again, I do understand why they're going back and redoing this, because there is model flaws and they don't have the original model to fix the flaws. So at this point, it's a much quicker process for them to go in and remodel it, and they've already got the code and stuff for it, so they can literally just, once this is all texture and everything, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to just slap the config and change all the names that they need to from the current Halo 3 helmet and whatever other armor they do, and just put that in there, and they should be able to do this pretty quickly. As you guys can see, it's already textured and everything, so they've already put in a lot of work on this. Then we move over to vehicles, and we wrap up Optray with the Wolverine, and the Wolverine is pretty badass. Of course, this is a big anti-air vehicle. We've got the Rocket Hog, or the AA Hog, I should say, in currently, but of course, this is a much meaner platform. And so something like this would be pretty cool. I don't know how much like this is actually going to get used by the average player base, but again, this is something that's nice to have, because this will fill a role that we really don't have, which is a big AA platform that is a Halo object. We've got certain things, that are designed for AA. They're like vanilla armor, which a lot of people use. This will fill that niche kind of, even though it is a vehicle, not necessarily like a static AA like some of those things, but still I think that's a good thing. Then that brings us on over to First Contact. So with First Contact, we have a couple things going on here. The first thing is the Wraith Tank is getting an update. So that update will include basically just changing its speed a little bit. I think it's going to get some updated armor values, and the turret will actually pop out properly and everything now. Now, there is a model issue which will get rectified at some point, which is that when the turret pops up, there is actually no geometry. It's floating in the air. And as such, you can also see the gunner in the back of the tank just kind of hanging out there and chilling. So that's going to be fixed and changed, and that's good because it needs to be. Then we have, on top of that, a arguably, well, bigger just because it's not been announced yet, but very neat announcement, which is the Spiker. So the Brute Spiker is getting modeled out. Now, I forgot to leave a note as to who did this, and I don't know if it's in Optray's news, and I feel kind of silly for that. It's not, so I can't say it, but the Spiker is being developed, and apologies to the developer who's making this because I forgot to annotate it, and I just realized that. So anyways, it's very cool, though, obviously. More Covenant weapons is nice. Now, does this mean we're going to see Brutes? Probably not. I do know that, at least in the past, Brutes have not been the priority as far as adding new Covenant. That doesn't mean they're not. I don't know. I don't have the inside track to every Covenant species that the dev team, somebody comes along and decides they want to try and develop. I just know that in the past, what we've been shown publicly, it has been jackals and grunts that have been worked on, and that's always been the priority. And I've been told that basically, the Brutes are, as far as Covenant species go, not the most difficult thing to do. They are still, obviously difficult. It's still a big undertaking doing the Brutes. And, the dev team has always wanted to try and get the grunts or jackals in first because that's, of course, the standard grunt infantry. It's a little bit easier to fight. One of the big criticisms a lot of people have put forward against the elites is the challenge in fighting them makes them hard to put in any mass quantities. So I don't know that we would see the Brutes. This is all, of course, just my own guesses. I really don't have any basis for saying that one way or the other. But nonetheless, even if we don't get Brutes, this will be kind of a cool weapon to either give to the elites or have laying around in a mission or whatever that some humans could pick up. Maybe like a rebel faction that's working with the Covenant, or arms dealers or something like that. It's a cool weapon. It's a unique weapon, and I look forward to seeing it. That's all there really is to it, I guess, and that's all that matters. So then wrapping us up, we have one little bit of community stuff. So in the previous video, I showed off a combat knife by the 41st ODST. Now we have the M11 Kukri knife, which is being developed for the 41st. And of course, this is the same tool Emil uses. And this one is also stamped with the UNSC logo, and it will be presumably using the improved melee system that everything else they have uses too. So that's a cool weapon. definitely dig it. You know, all these melee weapons are nice because it's probably something we'll never actually see in the main mod just because it is reliant on a melee mod, a completely different mod. So seeing stuff like this is nice. I dig it. All right, guys, that is it for this video. I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.